You pass. Hello? I
That
believe
was
there's some divine intervention that's communicating down to me. Providence has seen fit to make sure that these events are remembered in history. I'm very happy to hear that. Your question again was questions I may have for you. Well, as you know, I am wanting to come over to Plymouth, New Plymouth that is, there in the New World, because of our religious rights here, I do not feel are being properly respected by the King, King James, and the Church of England. Now, those of you who were brave and went over on the Mayflower, I will be following soon with my father, Robert Cushman. He plans on coming back, and I tell you that I plan on staying there. And matter of fact, I'm single. So hopefully there'll be some prospects for me to find a wife and start a family in the New World. But I have one of my friends' son will be coming over soon to Elder Brewster, I know is there. And he has written back and said that right now that the growing of the crops is become very, excuse me, ma'am, please leave. Please leave. Excuse me, ma'am, I cannot attend church service at this time because I am talking with some friends. Please leave. Bye-bye. I go to church 3 times a day and now they want a 4th. I tell you, and I have to kick some people out. So I do apologize. But we have read some letters from Mr. Winslow, Edward Winslow, that it has been not very healthy for you over there, that many have died of sickness, and that of the 104 passengers on the Mayflower, almost half of you have died. And I'm trying to find out, is that accurate information?
William, what do you think? How can we let him know about the dangers? What's been hard about this journey, William?
1 second, I want to take out my pencil here and record this information. It's very important that you keep good notes about events like this. Go ahead.
Can you help us out, buddy? What's been difficult about our new life in America? How has it been hard for us?
The winter hitting them and getting knocked off their course.
Yeah. So the winter, yes, we were supposed to land in a warmer climate, but we landed north because we hit a storm on the ocean and it put us in very cold weather. So growing crops has been hard.
I understand that you were supposed to have been down near Virginia, and that, yes, that your course has. Are the winters worse there than they are here in England?
Terrence, how bad are the winters here?
They're bad.
What's been hard in the winter, Terrence?
It's been cold.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Uncle Thomas, we weren't prepared with our clothing.
That is good information, because I feel I will need to meet the tailor and have some new outfits, because this does not look warm enough for me. And I'm still chilly here in my home. I need to get some more wood for the hearth right now. But how is the food situation and growing of your crops? Have you had a chance to do that yet?
It's a great question. Any other teachers have some friends that could help us with this? How's the food situation?
Vinny, I can't unmute him.
Vinny, how's our food situation? Let Uncle Thomas know.
It's not going well.
Oh my goodness. It is not going well. Are people starving? That's one word I hear, that some people have gotten sick because you do not have enough food, like at Jamestown. Is this correct, my Sir Vinny?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my Sir Vinny, how are you faring? Are you doing okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. My father, Robert, is a little worried about making this venture over there. another question I have, and I base this on writings of John Smith, who was at Jamestown, that in Jamestown, they had many problems with the Indians. They were fighting quite often. How about you there? Are you having any problems? Are you getting along with the Indians? Is there fighting? And have you met any of those savages?
What about it, guys? Have we met any here? What's going on with our relationship with them? Terrence?
We went in a war with them, and now we signed a contract where we could give them our land and we can move to the other land if they leave us alone.
Yeah, we're trying to work out some territories where we can keep land with Native Americans, and then we can have our land so that we can try to end some of these battles. But not all of them have been bad. Some Native Americans have helped us out. Some have helped us. What help have we received from the Native Americans, guys? How have they helped us?
That is good to hear.
Aiden G, how have Native Americans helped us?
They helped us by helping us grow crops faster.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are some of the crops that you have decided to grow there?
What food have we got?
I hear there's
What
something
food
called
have we had?
maize. What is this maize that I hear about?
Oh, yes, explaining corn.
Corn? I'm not aware of that term.
What food is it, William?
We've got food like fish, plants like carrots and peppers.
Yeah, so in England, remember, corn was new to us in our new community, guys. We hadn't ever had corn before. So how could we explain corn and the taste and the look and growing it? How could we explain that to Uncle Thomas here? How can we let him know about corn? Christopher?
I think there's a special type of corn that you can grow and you can cook it and it can turn into popcorn.
You can. We've roasted it, and it has two forms, Uncle Thomas. It can be a
Really?
vegetable that's kind of sweet, but it can also turn into like a starchy snack if you roast it. It pops. It goes.
It pops.
It pops.
I look quite forward to tasting some of that. Now, another question I have, when I come over, what should I bring with me so that I am well prepared? Because I do not want to come there and not have certain items and then have to buy them or borrow them from you, because I know those items are valuable to you.
Any other instructors have some students who could give advice on what our uncle should pack for his journey over?
Yes.
What are some things he should bring with him on the ship and for when he's living in the new lands?
Kaylee Cole, go ahead.
You should bring your notes so you could keep notes and your gloves. And,
I've got some here.
And your light.
I just extinguished my candle. I apologize.
And your light.
A light?
My light? What do you mean?
Not a light. Your notes, your gloves, and
My candle?
yeah.
Oh, yes. Because I will need many candles because I do enjoy writing. And are there any books there? Because I love to read books. And if there are not any, I would want to bring some of those in my case.
Yeah, William is letting us know, no, we don't have any printer presses going here. We don't have any authors that are recording for us yet. So if you'd like books, you'll need to provide those. We don't have a shop to go get any.
One thing I have a question on. I am used to doing some work, but many times I go into our village here, or our hamlet, and I will trade for goods. Am I expected to do a lot of physical work there, like in the fields? Because I do not know how to do this, planting and items.
Levin, how hard has the work been on our bodies?
Very hard because we really didn't have We really
There's
do
some
have-
things we've had to do.
We
Oh.
had to stay in one room houses, build a bunch of fire, waste all the wood.
Yeah,
Oh.
we've had to build our own one-room houses, Uncle Thomas, and we've had to get the firewood so that we can stay warm during this winter weather. But we had to build our shelters first, so it is very difficult labor.
Oh my goodness, I hear that. Now, here is something I have heard from John Smith, who, as you know, helped found Jamestown. And later, he's the one who made the map of the coastline all the way up to what is part of the Massachusetts Bay Area, way up north, that I understand that there are some diseases there that killed many Indians before you arrived. Is this disease still there? They do not know if it was the pox or malaria or typhus. They're not really sure, but are the Indians still sick or are they getting better? Does anyone know that?
Yeah, are there some sicknesses going on, guys, that have been taking out Native American tribes? Cameron?
Cameron. Oh.
Well, there is one coronavirus that's going around,
Oh, really?
but it's not really a bad virus that's killing Native Americans. It's just something that you need to stay aware of.
Okay, that's very good. Is there anything I need to wear to protect myself as I come over there?
How do we keep the germs out of our bodies, guys? What should we do with our bodies? How do we keep them safe? Gloria?
A mask.
Oh yeah, baths.
Yeah.
We don't do that very much, right? We don't have a lot of bathing because Uncle Thomas, we know the dirt. How does the dirt help us stay safe, guys? What do we do with that dirt? Terrence?
Wait, rub it on us.
Yeah, so Uncle Thomas, if you cake
Yes.
the dirt on yourself, it'll protect your skin from getting germs in it. So it kind of gives you a protective layer.
What are germs? I've not heard that term before.
Well, they're little things that can get you sick. They're the badness that we have to keep away.
Oh, dear goodness. Everything is dirt around my house. My floor is dirt. Everything, I should be well protected if I need to be in dirt. Now, another question. Have you had an opportunity to gather with the savages and to get together? And how have they treated you when you've come together?
Who would like to tell about when we met with the Indians and Native Americans around us? How did that go? Angela, how did our meeting with the Native Americans go? Oh, Angela, unplug those headphones so we can hear you.
So it was a little Native American they you guys been coming together. And
We did.
Together to eat?
We did get together to eat. Yeah, we exchanged some food and gave each other some different ways to prepare the food that was provided to us. So it was an okay meal, Uncle Thomas. It went okay.
I have heard there's quite plenty of game in the woods to hunt, like fowling, like birds, of turkeys, and a mini fish along the coast called cod, I believe it is. Is it in quite abundance, or will I starve to death?
Yeah, William, how are we hunting? How's that going?
We're hunting a lot of deer and some chicken.
Venison. That's a great taste, venison. I hope I am not well at preparing it. So what I'm hoping for, children and ladies, is that I will find someone, because my father will not be staying long, that I can share a place with. I have exchanged correspondence with Governor Bradford over there, and he is open to the possibility of me staying there until I can get with someone else and build a place and share. I am very well acquainted with Mr. Bradford from our church meetings together in England. And as you know, we had to leave England and go to Holland or the Netherlands to worship as we chose because we felt that the Church of England was keeping us from how we wanted to worship God. And so I am quite good friends with Governor Bradford. I hope his health is doing well. I heard a terrible account from Mr. Brewster that Lady Bradford was on the Mayflower in the harbor and she fell off and drowned. I was quite distressed when I heard that news, knowing how much Mr. and Mrs. Bradford loved one another. So I am going to be very cautious on my journey over there. Any other tips that you think I should know? Because I don't want to cause a problem for you when I get there.
Levin, can you give some tips about how to survive the boat ride over? What can he do in that lower deck to survive?
Don't go hot. Don't go over. Don't leave the lower deck. That's one thing.
Yeah, we can't go up on the higher deck because it's very wavy. The ship rocks a lot, Uncle Thomas. So you'll want to be prepared to be under the deck for quite some time. So bring something to entertain yourself with, and bring, a way to kind of clean yourself a bit while you're underneath the deck to keep yourself a little bit more comfortable.
I have not given much thought, but to the privy, when you must take care of some of the business that nature forces upon you, and so does gravity.
Yes.
I hope there is some arrangement for that. Yes. Also, what if I have to throw up? If I have to upchuck, should I not go to the deck and do that? I do not want to do it down in the deck where you are and have a mess.
Yeah, Terrence, kind of tell them about the smell going on in that ship on the way over. What was happening?
More people were throwing up because the smell, and they couldn't survive.
Yeah, the smell was pretty awful from that seasickness, Uncle Thomas. So know that when you get to the new lands, to the new world, you'll be very grateful for fresh air. It can be a difficult journey.
I look forward. Elder Brewster, when he sent a letter to my father, mentioned that one of the great items was the fresh water from the streams and rivers there in the New World compared to what we have had here. So I look quite forward to that opportunity to taste some of that fresh water.
It's very refreshing, yes.
Yeah, Vinny, what has that water been very helpful for in those lakes and rivers and streams?
Hydration,
yes. We've been able to drink it very well without getting sick.
Yes, because I understand that the beer that many are drinking is not the best for you.
Yes.
Because, you need something else to hydrate yourselves, Lady Sharp. And let's see, is there anything else that you would like to tell me that I should know? I could keep going on, but I do know that you may have to get back to tend the fields and get to your daily church meetings.
We do have a meeting to get to, Uncle Thomas. Yes, we need to make sure that we attune to today's business.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. This has helped me greatly. I have taken notes, and if possible, I may need to talk again if you would want me to, because I am a little worried about this venture, especially the staying under deck, as you just told me about.
And Uncle Thomas, I'll tell you what, as you're preparing for your journey over the next few weeks, we're going to go ahead and write some letters of advice to you, if that would be helpful. And we'll send you the letters giving you tips on how to survive and what to do. Would that be helpful?
Oh, by all means, please do that, my friends. It would be great to hear from you, and I truly look forward to seeing you there in the new world, where religious freedom is valued by those of you who have gone there first.
Thank you, Uncle Thomas, so much for talking with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. And I shall try and get off of this device. I'm not sure what to do.
All right, we'll see you, Uncle Thomas. I'm sure you can figure it out.
Let me see. Do I come up here and what is this? I don't know. Oh, by golly, what is that? That is quite crazy. I've never seen such a thing. Oh, my goodness. Herbert, come in here and look at this device. No, quit milking the cow and get over here. I've never seen such a thing. Like, quit chasing the chickens, pluck them later. Okay? My goodness. And where? Ah, what? Oh, it's still on?
Yes. Goodbye, Uncle Thomas. Goodbye.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Let me see.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have to write back to Uncle Thomas. So I'm going to hand it over to some of our other fellow third grade teachers, and we'll see how we're going to tackle this today.
All right. I am so excited that we got to hear from Uncle Thomas. For the lesson today, we are writing to Uncle George, which is actually his middle name. He is called George sometimes. So we're going to call him Uncle George. So don't let that confuse you. I'm going to share screen. And if some of you are lost, wondering what's going on, and you came in later, we are pilgrims that came across the ocean to the new colonies on the Mayflower. Raise your hand if you know what the Mayflower is. Yeah, we should know because we came across on it. So we are pretending to be pilgrims that came across the ocean to land in the new colonies. And we are writing to Uncle Thomas or Uncle George about what the trip was like. And he wrote us a letter asking us some questions. And so we're going to respond. So let me open up our lesson on Seesaw today. Make sure I can share my screen. All right, everyone give me 2 big thumbs up if you can see my screen. Perfect. Today we are going to pretend to sail across the ocean to the new land. I want you to pretend to be the pilgrims today, and I want you to think about what it was like to come to the new land as it took weeks to cross the ocean. We already read this book, so it is optional. But if you read it, I want you to try to pretend that you are one of the pilgrims in the story. So like I said, we read this book, and for the sake of time, we're not going to read it again. But if you want to go back and read it, pretend that you are one of the characters in the story and see what it was actually like. Let's take our journey across the Atlantic Ocean, starting right here in England. And as we stop at each destination, I want you to read about each experience along the way until you land in the new colonies of America. So let's look at this trip on the globe. And let's look at each stop along the way. So here is where we got on the Mayflower to depart from England. So we're leaving England. We departed from Plymouth on September 2nd, 1620. We were supposed to be sailing alongside the Speedwell as well. However, that ship had many leaks and was feared to be unable to make the trip. So as we continue to move on to the next phase of the trip, I have learned that there are over 102 passengers on this ship, including me. 3 women are even pregnant, so maybe that makes 105 if we do the math. I wonder if one of these babies will wait to be born until we reach our new land. Who will be the first baby born in the US? Many people aboard take care of the ship. There's the captain, the cooper, the ship surgeon, and many more, but I have forgotten what they are called. The whole crew works together very well to man our ship. I finally got the courage to talk to our captain tonight. His name is Christopher Jones, and he's 50 years old. His father was a sailor too, and Captain Jones told me that the first ship ever owned was called Josiah. So let's continue our journey. At this point, many of the people on board are getting seasick. We've been hitting many storms lately, and it's very cold and damp on this leaky boat. I hope these storms stop soon. So remember, it's been weeks by now, and the boat's starting to leak. They're trying to fix some places where the water's getting in, people are getting seasick, and people are just ready to find the new land. John Howland went overboard in the storm last night. He went to the top of the ship, and the ship tossed him right off. Fortunately, we grabbed a hold of a rope off of the side of our ship, and the crew managed to pull him up. Thank goodness. During yet another storm, the main beam of our ship broke. I hope it can be repaired. I heard the captain still thinks our ship is strong and that they found a large screw to fix it. Since our ship was blown off course by all of the storms, we had to stop here to gather supplies and fresh water. It was nice to be off of the ship, even just for a little while. We saw land today. This is the first day that we have seen it. Sadly, poor William Button died just 3 days ago from a sickness, so he was never able to see it. It's so damp in here. It isn't hard to believe he passed. We have finally reached our destination. Well, not quite, but they say that we will be staying here for a while until we decide where to settle for good. What a great adventure it has been. All right, so we made our entire trip across the Atlantic Ocean into the new colonies. And as we get here, we get a letter. We just arrived to the new land, and we already got a letter. Let's see who the letter is from. It's from Uncle George. It says, "Dear colonist, how was the boat ride? What kinds of shelter have you created? What are you eating? What are you doing to have fun? Sincerely, Uncle George." Let's just take care of the first two questions today. How was the boat ride? What kinds of shelter have you created? So I want you to think about everything you've learned so far. Think about the videos we watched and the books we read. What was the boat ride like? For your assignment, I want you to brainstorm what the boat ride was like. And after you think of all of the words to use that describe what the boat ride was like, I want you to write it in a letter. Let's go over a couple examples together. If I were to ask you how school was, I don't just want you to tell me it was good, it was fine. I want you to be more descriptive. So let's think of all the sentences and words we could use to describe this boat ride. Long. Boring. People got sick. I want you to make a list of as many things as you can. They don't have to be organized yet, but when you are finished, I want you to organize those facts into very nice and neat sentences in your letter. For example, when Uncle George wrote us a letter asking us what the boat ride was like, instead of just writing back boring words like long and boring, we can write him an actual letter. For example, we could say, "Dear Uncle George, I'm happy to hear from you. Boat ride has been long and boring so far. Or if you already landed, you could say the boat ride was long and boring. So as you can see, this is just an example of a couple of the words that we have used. We simply took a couple ideas and turned those into sentences. But make sure that you only use the ideas that you have read from books or watched from the videos. Try not to make up your own ideas. All right, we are almost through. After you have written part of the letter, I want you to try to create and reenact your own story, putting you in the story. I'll show you an example. So let's say I want to choose part of the story that I want to be in, and I want to describe what it was like to be inside the boat. I could choose this picture. And I can retell the story acting like I am one of the characters. Now looky there, I am one of the characters in the story, and I could read what I have in my letter, expressing what it was like to be one of the characters on the boat. I will show you how to do this when you get to this point in the slides for the assignment. Later this week, you will learn how to properly write a letter to somebody. That's not a skill for today, but I want you to take a quick look so that you can feel prepared when you start to write a proper letter. All right, so when we write a letter to somebody, we always start off by saying, "Dear so-and-so." So in this, the letter from George, our Uncle George or Uncle Thomas says, "Dear colonist," because that's who we are. We are colonists. We are people who settle into the new colonies. And then we start writing what we want to write. And at the end, we'll say something like, "Your friend, Mr. McKinney," or "Your friend," or "Sincerely, Mr. McKinney." And then we have to make sure to put the date at the top. But we'll talk more about that another day. Teachers, do we want to continue throughout this whole lesson, or do we want to continue tomorrow? Because we probably still have a good 15-20 minutes left.
Yeah, I'd say maybe look at the planning parts that they can do today. So how is the boat ride? You did this in the video lesson. So kids, you're going to add your ideas here, just maybe what they can work on today during work time. Gotcha. All right, so we'll do this slide, and then I guess we'll stop when we get to the next couple. All right, so the first question in the letter was, how was the boat ride? So from any of the students, according to some of the videos we watched, maybe the meeting we just had with Uncle Thomas, or from some of the books we read, what can you guys tell me about the boat ride? Guys, if you want to speak, use your hand emoji, and that's how I'll know that you have something to say to answer Mr. McKinney's question. Okay, so use your hand emoji, and I'll unmute a few of you at a time. So Mr. McKinney, repeat your question one more time. From the sources that we've read or the videos we watched and with the meeting with Uncle Thomas, what was the boat ride like? So we just took our trip across the ocean. What was the boat ride like for us? You can pick.
It was, people were getting sick, and it was kind of boring because you were just sitting in a bottom of the ship.
All right, so people were getting sick. You said it was boring.
Vinny,
what else
do you
was
have to add?
unique about this book?
All right, Vinny, what do you have to add to that?
It was horrible because it took a long time for them to get to the new colonies.
It was horrible. It took a long time. So I like
It
that
was a
word.
long journey.
Horrible.
What made it horrible? Vinny, what made it horrible?
Them getting sick and the people dying from the sickness.
So
Yeah.
people were dying.
Some people died.
Okay, so I think those are good ideas for now, for the sake of time. So people were getting sick. It was boring. We used the word horrible. It was a long journey. Some people died. So these are just us gathering all of our thoughts. And then we can turn those into sentences in our letter. But first, do we want to go into a break room, or do we just want to end it there and then we can figure that out? Because we still have to read pages 12 through 16.
I would say model putting slide 1 into slide 3, and then they can work independently on slide 2.
I agree. All right. So here is the first question. How was the boat ride? And these are some of the ideas we came up with. So people were getting sick. It was boring. It was horrible. It was a long journey. Some people died. So instead of just throwing random sentences together, now we can use those ideas to put into a letter. So the first question was, how was the boat ride? So like I said in the first story, if someone's going to write me a letter, they're probably going to start off with hello or how are you? I want to start off with, I'm glad to hear from you. I'm happy to hear from you. Start off with an opening like that. It's almost like an introduction. So I'm happy to hear from you. I'm going to put an exclamation mark because that tells me I'm super happy. And I can continue updating things about my life, but let's just go ahead and jump into the question. How was the boat ride? One of the things we said was that it was very boring. It was very long. So I'm happy to hear from you. Thanks for asking about the boat ride. The boat ride on the Mayflower was very long and boring. If you wanted to add a better word, you'd say it was extremely long and boring. Well, let's see what else happened. People were getting sick. Some people died. So let's add that into our paragraph. Let's say it was horrible. In fact, some people were getting sick. And then I could use another transition word and say, unfortunately, some people died too. So that would be a good start to the beginning of my letter. And notice that just answered the first question, how was the boat ride? And you could add more details in there if you want. The next question says, what kinds of shelter have you created? Now, if you go back to slide 2, this is where you can come up with different words or sentences about the types of shelter you might have created. And you can find those ideas on this book right here on pages 12 through 17. It is on Myon. It's called The Scoop on Clothes, Homes, and Daily Life in Colonial America.
Okay. So kiddos, to be clear, you are not going to complete all of these slides, okay? So Mr. McKinney has shown us our slides 1 and 2 and 3. You're going to continue to add brainstorming your ideas of what you want to include in your letter. So what are you going to tell Uncle George, Uncle Thomas George Cushman, about life in the new world, in the new land where we have arrived and what the journey was like? Okay. Anything else from other third grade teachers?
Yep, notice it says stop on slide 6. So like Miss Sousa said, you are not completing the entire assignment today, just those 2 questions.
All right. Okay, kiddos, thank you for tuning in with us. We'll make sure to tell Uncle Thomas George Cushman thank you in the letter for talking with us as well. You have your assignment on Seesaw to continue working on and brainstorming your ideas.